The KT Super K was completely redesigned in its second version. With the new construction method, available in both carbon and pro-carbon versions, an extremely lightweight build was achieved. The underwater hull and all the lines of the entire shape were reworked so that, with the Super K, we can truly say it is the absolute leader in terms of lift capability. This applies, on the one hand, to the active pumping process when you have very little pressure in the wing or even in the parawing. And even if you adopt a completely passive riding style, you only need a slight wind pressure from the wing to easily leave the water's surface and fully take off. With a board width of 20.4 cm or 52 cm, the KT Super K2 is one of the narrowest models in the crossover class. Nevertheless, with just a little practice, it offers good tipping stability, as if the board were 2 or 3 cm wider. Overall, the tipping stability is comparable to that of the Superfly from Indiana or the Beluga from Roberto Ricci, both of which we previously tested. Let's briefly go over the testing procedure again. We tested the board with riders weighing 72 kg, 85 kg and 90 kg and equipped it with wings ranging from 1,500 square centimeter down to 700 square centimeter. Thanks to the extra long track mounts, it was no problem at all to find a neutral trim for every wing here, whether riding strapless or with straps. What stood out was that, compared to other crossover boards, every foil was the easiest to control and also the most responsive to feel on this board. The differentiated volume, the perfectly parallel deckline to the hull, and a slightly narrower stance all contribute to maximum control of the board and the best possible feel for the wing. All of this is much closer to a true surf feeling. In addition, the board's ability to pump, meaning its responsiveness to pumping movements, is most efficient here with the narrower stance. When you're riding in the wave, all the lines are designed so that you don't experience any catching, slowing down, or anything like that. And why is that so special? Because whether in cable water or in higher, steeper waves, you always get the same effect here. You have a truly completely free board, which doesn't touch even when crossing waves, and even if the foil is ridden a bit too deep for a moment, you can surf fully agile with the board's underwater hull. The comparatively narrow board width of 20.4 and the harmoniously tapered, strongly pronounced bevels at the back always allow for the maximum edging angle while carving. A very large part of this board's appeal lies in its extreme versatility. Whether you're pumping along the wave in a relaxed manner, doing tight turns close to the wave, or taking it easy with a larger wing, it's always the same experience. Truly, absolutely harmonious, direct, and precise feeling. Wing foiling is, of course, becoming an increasingly important topic for us, and in this area as well, you could say the KT Super K2 is the best board for all these situations that you need here. You need a very fast forward speed to get up on the foil early, sometimes even with very little pressure from the wing. You need a board that delivers the best possible feeling when prone surfing, whether in tight or wide turns, and also provides maximum control when catching or releasing the foil, so that you can truly feel the stability of the foil even in those still critical moments. The KT Super K2 fulfills all these qualities par excellence. To make this even clearer, here's a slightly longer impression in between. The advantages of jumping with the Super K2 are clearly its high speed, which the board can pick up quickly. It has no sensitivity to crosswinds. You can use a very nice angle in the roll to load the foil and the wings, and it always offers a forgiving pop, even if the angle when entering the water might not be quite right sometimes. Of course, it must be clearly stated that this is not a freestyle board, especially not in the 90-liter size for someone who weighs 100 kilos. It is certainly an option to consider it as an all-rounder. For our testers, it could have been a bit smaller, no question. Because at 6.2 in length, we are already simply dealing with a bit of swing weight, which for example can be bothersome during rotations. As mentioned, we tested the board in the 90-liter version. We'll show you the available sizes here to give you an idea of how precisely you can adjust it to your specific body weight. Accordingly, for our weight range of 72 to 90 kilos, the 90-liter board covered the light wind performance segment as the best board in the test, and it's simply an outstanding crossover board, making it easy to combine wing foiling and, for example, parowing. Of course, the first question is, what skills, what level of riding ability do I need to go wing foiling with it? It's definitely not a beginner board, it's simply too narrow for that. You already need at least a minimal sense of balance, as with all crossover boards. A confident start on a compact board of the right size should be absolutely safe, and being able to complete a jibe is definitely an advantage. Once you're up and flying with the Super K2, you'll notice that everything requires less effort, you have an overall better feel for the wing, and it can be consistently optimally controlled. And if the board does briefly touch the water surface, there's no board that releases from the water again faster. The meticulous work of designing all the lines of the boards at just the right angles so that there is never a suction or sticking effect, but instead it always achieves the lowest possible resistance, especially when it comes into contact with the water, is truly an incredible achievement by Keith Tabul, Kai Lenny, and the rest of their entire development team. In addition, 2 new constructions have been developed. The standard carbon board is already light overall in comparison, and the Carbon Pro is even lighter, which, compared to a board costing nearly 2,000 euros, if you have another 500 euros to spare, you can get the lightest weight available here. Throughout the entire testing period, we officially tested with 4 people of varying skill levels, but we also spoke with everyone who already owns the board, and surprisingly, there were quite a few of them, and there was unanimous agreement that, curiously enough, this board just feels a little bit better than other comparable models with similar dimensions. And please don't get us wrong, the other boards are truly top-notch, but this one just has that extra bit of harmony we've been searching for quite some time. Accordingly, as enthusiastic fans of this entire crossover concept, we've definitively come to the profound conclusion that all the other boards we've had the pleasure of riding so far, they were undeniably all kings, but the KT Super K is just a significant notch better, and therefore it's also the true sleeping beauty among them, truly standing out.